uh, 3 lakh records. So this is actually like if SQL Server is going to make use of this primary key index, so it will read only at most like 1,222 records, all right?
Yeah.
So so when compared to the other thing, like so in this case, so why do you think like SQL Server actually goes for like non-clustered index seek? So in this case, this might be helpful, right? My assumption. So it is always better to read like 1,000 records, which may span across like 10 or 15 pages, okay, logical pages. So if we go for non-clustered index, so we need to first of all like we need to do select star from, means like we need to get the data from non-clustered index, and then after that like we need to get like all the data. We need to make like key lookup from the clustered index, right? So it is actually making like few extra calls, might be. So anyhow, like let's see how the execution plan looks like for this one. So it is actually doing like clustered index seek, and the number of pages it is actually reading. So number of rows it is actually reading. So it is reading only one row. Okay.
Okay.
So it is reading only one row, and the sort operator, though it is taking like 70% of the relative cost. So it is just doing, it is just sort operator on one column. Okay. So the SQL Server, what it thinks is like, so using these statistics, so SQL Server makes that plan. Like now let's see another case. I'll try to have this query. So in this case, like, what do you think will happen? So not you, like, let me pick someone else. Uh, this time, like, I'll pick like Sita. Okay, so I'll go with Nirzan this time.
So
What do you think like the execution plan will be in this case?
I think it's non-clustered index scan.
So you're thinking, so this is the value that I'm searching for. Okay.
Mm.
So what I'm trying to do is like, so I'm doing like select star from users where ID less than ID. So, and this is the ID which I provided. So in
Mm.
this case, it is actually reading the entire table data, almost like
Mm.
the entire table data. So your plan, your assumption is like, so we'll go with like non-clustered index, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what is actually happening. So this time, unfortunately, it is doing like clustered index seek. Okay. And also, if you see the estimated record count, okay. So just see the estimated count for these two items. So in this case, like when we passed one, so the estimated records is like two, and then it expected it got only one record. Okay. So it is almost like 50% assumption. It is correct. But in this case, it is completely wrong. So it is expecting only two records, and then it got like almost 2 lakh records. It read like almost 2 lakh records.
Okay, so the SQL was picking up wrong execution plan. Is that what
Exactly.
you're saying? Okay.
Yeah. So in this case, like SQL Server is actually picking up the wrong execution plan. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. So I'll show you another thing. Okay. So you everyone like so you're following me, right? So any questions still now
No.
from others? Like any questions?
No.
No.
No, bro.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So now, so you see, like we have two execution plans. So the first one I'll be executing both of these. So this is the first execution plan. So in both the cases, like it is doing clustered index seek. Okay. Clustered index seek. And then in the first case where we are passing this big number, so it is it is expecting 2 records and it got like almost 3 lakh records, and SQL Server failed to nail it out. Like, so it completely failed to identify like how many records it is supposed to get. Okay. So I'll just do one thing. So I'll create this stored procedure. I'll have this execution plan. Okay. So this time, like I'll pick Nike. So Nike, like,
Yeah.
what do you think the execution plan will be in this case?
I think it's seek again.
It will be seek again.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll show you. Okay. So how many of you
Okay.
will go for seek in this case? So quick poll. Yes.
There's option to do polling in click, right? Slash poll or something like that.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how to use it.
Hey, you did that once. Looks like
Yeah, I did it in the past, but I don't exactly remember the process.
somebody will do research and next time will do.
Yeah. So the first one is for clustered index seek, and the second one is for different execution plan. So majority of you are going with like clustered index seek, except me. Okay. So majority of you are actually going with seek, right? Now let's see the execution plan. Let me reveal the execution plan. And it is not seek. This time we got scan. Okay. So this time like we got scan. So what's the difference? I'll execute the second part and then I'll see. Okay. So what do you think? Like, so do you think like it will do seek or scan in this case?
Seek.
Seek and
Hmm?
Seek.
seek.
So you're all sure, like, so it is actually doing seek.
Maybe
Second
scan.
one. Uh, seek or scan. Okay, for second
Hold on,
one.
hold on, hold on, hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Does that work? Hold on.
Poll. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, seek or scan in this case.
View the results.
Okay. So we got like 10 seeks and then 2 scans, right? Okay. But this time this is going to be scan.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm right.
You're the
So
only one who is right. There you go. Apart from Pawan.
yeah. So did you guys confuse like why it is actually behaving in this way?
Yeah, I also put it as seek.
Yes.
So what do you think? Like, so which factor is actually impacting this one?
Um,
ID.
uh, I think it's ID.
Yeah. So what is actually impacting here is like, so again, I'll delete this one, drop this one. Okay. So in both the cases, like I have same ID, 10158561 and then 1. Here also I have like 1015 861 and then 1. Okay. So in the first case, what I'm actually doing, so I'm executing, creating the stored procedure. Now I'm executing this statement first, like sample one. I'm passing ID one first time. Okay. So this time, like for the first time when I'm actually passing one, so SQL Server is smart enough, and then it is thinking, okay, so I got ID equal to one, and it is actually using statistics, and then it decided to make use of cluster index seek. Okay. Next time, like when I'm actually executing this particular item, like the second item with the big number, so this time, like SQL Server is again like it is thinking like, okay, so I need to do like so this time. So if you see what is actually happening behind the scene is like, so when we are actually passing the data as a parameter, so that is when this is actually impacting, like so it is not treating the execution plan. So at previous session, like what I mentioned, like so how the databases they get cached, right? So we never saw like what the execution plan caches and how it will be used in making decisions, right? So now we'll see like how that actually helps us in solving some of these. Okay. So in this case, what is happening for the first time, like when I'm running with ID equal to 1, so it took this execution plan and then it cached that particular execution plan. Okay. So next time when I'm running this with the same query, the same stored procedure with this ID, so it is not exactly taking like, so it is not considering this particular parameter value, and then it is making use of the saved execution plan. And the saved execution plan here is like seek. Okay. So that's the reason why like we got seek in both the cases. So let me drop this one and let me execute this one. Okay. So same stored procedure. There is no difference at all. So this time like I'll do, so the bigger one, I'll execute the big one first. Okay. So in this case, like it is optimal to do an clustered index scan. Okay. So as it is optimal to do a clustered index scan, so it did clustered index scan. And as I'm executing this stored procedure for the first time, so it is actually caching the execution plan. Okay. So now when I execute this with small value, even with one, so in this case, it is doing like clustered index scan. And the number of pages, number of rows that were read is like almost 3 lakh records. So do you think like this will have an impact on tables with large data?
Yes.
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 So obviously, like I see, like majority of you will be working on the production issues, and though I assume like so we don't have that much of data because like all our products we started like except the WotC where we might see some of these issues like in the WotC. We might be seeing something like this. So after restarting the execution plan, or I mean, so after restarting the server, or for the first time, like when we execute the prop, maybe if we do it with a small number, so we might be seeing like an optimal plan. But for subsequent queries, we might be using like wrong execution plan, so which is not optimal, and these queries might be slow. Okay. So we might face like some of these issues when we actually deal with the huge data and then stored processes in production. So we'll see like how to actually solve some of these issues. Okay. But you guys are clear, right? What this is called as like parameter sniffing actually. So everyone is clear, right? What parameter sniffing is actually.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the problem created by parameter sniffing. Uh, we saw like so how we can have the impact, like so if I change the order of execution like by deleting these values. Okay. The first value and then the second value. Okay. Let's see like the same query. I'll just use, so this time I'll make use of one. . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Okay. So what do you think the execution plan will be in this case? It's an error. Okay. So I'll just see. So this time, like it is taking the execution plan as clustered index can. So if you see the estimates, like it is actually thinking like estimated rows, estimated number of rows per execution is like constants, hundreds, thousands, 10,000 records. It is estimating number of records as like 89,800 records. But in general, like it got only one record. Okay, but number of rows read is like 3 lakh records approximately. So now let's see how this execution plan gets impacted. So even in this case, like if you see, so when I'm executing this, so you can see the estimated number of rows. So you can see like estimated number of rows per execution is almost like 90,000 records. Okay. So where exactly do you think this 90,000 is coming from? So any guess from anyone? In general, like where exactly these estimated number of records will come? Okay, so let me pick someone. So this time like Bhavya. Okay, so I'll go with funny then. Funny. Oh, Bhavya is here, right? Okay. Yeah. So Bhavya, like, let me know, like, where exactly do you think like this estimated number of records is coming from? In general, like, where do these estimations come from?
So from table we can get those estimation time records. We use table.
Okay. So from table you'll be getting. So do you think like SQL Server before actually estimating, it will read the entire data from the table?
Yes, I suppose.
Okay. Maybe
Like
like
cache data.
okay. So anyone else like volunteer? So they'll answer.
Statistics.
Yeah. So before actually executing the query, so what SQL Server is does like, so it will actually try to get the statistics information, and the statistics for this particular index, like so which index it is using. So it is using clustered index. So let me see the statistics for this particular clustered index. And statistics for this clustered index. So where exactly we'll have this value ID equal to 1. So it is somewhere between like 1 and 2 records, and at most like you'll have only 1200 records, right? But it is so in this case it is showing some wrong number, some other number, like it is actually showing execution estimated number of rows as 90,000. So where do you think like so this number is actually coming from?
Maybe it is summing up all the range rows. I mean,
Hmm. Okay, so in this case what is actually happening is select star, I mean select density, this particular value into this value. No. So just give me a second. So it will actually make use of the density, like Uh, so here the density is almost like this particular number, and using this number, like it is actually supposed to multiply these two numbers and then make the decision. Like uh, so what's the execution plan here? Like approximately I got this number, and then what's the value of this? 89819, 5 digit. Like okay, so I'll just get back to this, like where exactly this number is actually we are actually getting. So which index it is using? PK user ID. Yeah, so I'll actually, so I'm not getting the calculation exactly, but it is actually, it will be making use of the density. So this particular value, and it will see like an average assumption like it is actually giving, which is not at all correct. So even for this query, it is thinking like I need to read these many rows. Okay, so 89819 rows, and even for this query, simple query, like it is thinking like I need to read all 89819 records. Okay, so which is not actually true. Um, so this way, like even when we use like these kind of parameters, so the query execution plan might be sometimes wrong. Like so, it might take like wrong execution plans. Okay, let's see what else. We saw this, we saw this, we saw this. Okay, so we saw like the execution, how execution plan is being impacted with having like local variables, right? Okay, so at least like the estimated number of rows, so they're getting changed. Like so, we are getting like wrong estimated number of records. So you might be thinking, what's wrong? What is wrong if we get like wrong estimated records? So if this number is actually varying a lot, so if SQL Server is getting like wrong estimates, and then if the number is like very large, so what SQL Server does is like, so it will think like, okay, for processing this query, I need to allocate like these many resources. Okay, and then basically like it will try to allocate all this memory for processing this particular record in real time, but unfortunately like we got only one record. Okay, so as this is like a small number, so you'll not see much impact. Like 80,000, 90,000 is not a big deal, but if you deal with like big databases, so then you'll see some impact over here. Okay, so I'll just have like one option optimize unknown. So, so let's execute this.
ఇది ఇక్కడ బ్లూమ్సింది మళ్ళీ అక్కడ ఇదంతా తడి చేసింది వెళ్ళి సచ్చినట్టు తెలుస్తున్నావు ఏం చేసిందో తెలుసా వాటర్ బాటిల్
So yeah, let me use this optimize for unknown. Like in this case, like let's skip this slide and then we'll see. Like I'll just show you at a later point of that one. Okay, so we see like TBCC free proc cache. Okay, so I'll just show this example. So we don't have. So this is my query, right? Okay. So this time, like I'm executing this particular query first time, and then I'm doing like execute clustered index scan. Okay. Now, when I'm executing this second query, even in this case, it is taking clustered index scan. Okay. So how do we actually correct this? So let me, as I already mentioned, like, so what SQL Server does is like, so it will actually cache these execution plans. And once it caches this execution plan, so it will try to make use of the same execution plans. That is with stored procedures only, not with the regular inline queries. So when you actually read, so some people, they actually say that, like, how many of you actually think like, so making use of a stored procedures? Um, I wanted to create a poll here.
I'll give you the so
Comment.
yeah, how to do it. Slash poll hyphen, just type in slash poll hyphen title
Slash poll.
poll space hyphen title,
Okay.
and
Hyphen
then give it a
title.
double quote. Yeah, title. And then space opt hyphen opt, yeah, and then double quotes and give some comma separated values. Yeah.
అబ్బా, చాణక్య pin చేస్తాను.
అంతగా చూడు అక్కడ
Okay, so maybe like, let's not waste the time. Like, how many of you actually think like, so by making use of stored procedures, like we'll be able to catch this execution plan, and that will make our lives easy or something like that? Like,
I think so.
I think
mm,
I think.
okay, but that is not always correct. So there is another drawback. Like, so so just now we saw, right? So there is a chance of like the execution plan being cached, and it might be it might be a wrong execution plan. Okay, so that is not always true. Okay.
but
Uh,
sir, in some cases we can cache a optimized plan and we can use that, right?
so how do you say, like, so which one is an optimized plan? So for
Oh,
one number, like it is optimized. Okay. So for bigger number, like 10, this big number, like it is optimized because, so anyhow, like we are supposed to read the entire table data and it is doing like index scan. So do you think you'll be thinking like, so, okay, this will be optimized for the bigger query, but that is not the case with small numbers, right?
okay. So not even a average execution plan.
No, so there is nothing like an average execution plan. Okay. So we saw like in this case, it is actually making use of this cached execution plan, right? So first I executed this query and it got like clustered index scan, and second time it is doing clustered index scan even for this one. Okay. So now let me clear this cache, like execution plan cache, and now let me execute this particular query. Okay. So now you can see we are getting clustered index seek. Okay. So even in this case, we are getting clustered index seek. Okay. See, like you can see. So what's the problem with the wrong execution plan? So you can see a small warning message here, like operator used tempdb to spill data during execution with spill level 2 and spill level so and so. Okay. So uh, just for like here in this case, so it is actually doing like in cluster index, it is actually trying to do something else. Like, so let me show you, like, so you can see the warning message here, right? So it is actually trying to do it is actually trying to push the data into tempdb and then process it. But in this case, you'll not see. So in this case, like it is not even doing that sort operator, right? You got it, right? So because like this is optimal again, so there it is actually thinking like I'll be getting like only two records, and when it thought like so it will get only two records, so it thought like okay, so sorting two records is not a big deal, and then I can do it in memory or I can push it to temp. I can do it in memory, but ideally like in this case it got like almost it is reading the entire table, and it is supposed to push the data into a tempdb because it didn't expect those many records. Okay. So any questions till now?
No.
Okay. Um, okay. So when is this execution cached execution plan? So they get deleted. Okay. So usually like these execution plans, so they'll get invalidated only when we restart a Windows. I mean, so when we restart the SQL Server instance. Okay. A complete machine like so SQL Server, it resides on a Windows machine, right? So if we restart the Windows machine, so it's a fresh restart, and execution plans will all be deleted, and then so you'll get like fresh execution plans every time. Or like when you restart the SQL Server service, that is one case. And another thing is like so you can make use of this DBCC free proc cache. Okay, so even in this case, like the execution plans, they get deleted, and you'll get a fresh execution plan for the first time.
For all procedures?
Yeah, this is for all procedures, and there are like some commands like you can actually pass the query which you wanted to delete. So internally you'll have like some handles kind of thing. Okay, so using that
Okay.
handle you can delete a specific stored procedure execution plan. So ideally, like this is not actually preferred in production. Even this is not actually preferred in production. Even this is not actually preferred in production.
Okay.
And then when indexes are built, like at that time, like this execution plans, they get invalidated because like when a fresh index is created, so SQL Server might think like, okay, so this index might be more better than already cached execution plan. Okay, so that is one case. And then statistics, whenever like statistics are updated. Okay. The other option is like when the server comes under memory pressure. Let's say like you have 16 GB machine and you have almost like 100 GB table. Okay, so in this case, like when you try to read all the data from the table, or when you're trying to have perform like some memory intensive operations, in that case, like SQL Server is supposed to clean the memory, right? It is supposed to like delete some of these cached items. So even in that, in those scenarios, like SQL Server will clear these execution plans. Okay. Mm. So what's your take? Like, is parameter sniffing bad?
In the previous example, it is bad.
Okay.
Depends. I think it depends.
Yeah. So I'll just pose this query. Like, so this is to see like what cached execution plans are. Okay. So this is to see like how many execution plans are actually in cached, and how many of them are being used. So this is sample one. So I'm just querying only this one. So you can see like after clearing this uh, pre-proc cache, I'll just execute this. And you can see like, so I don't have any execution plans cached. So again, like let me execute this query. Just see like the execution plan. Okay. So there is one cached entry. So as Naik was asking, like, so when we execute like dbcc free proc cache, so does it delete like everything? Okay. So in order to delete only certain execution plans, so you can make use of this query like free proc cache, and then you can pass this plan handle. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can do like star here, like, so basically to see what are all the execution plans. Okay. So this is the text, like execution plan text. Okay.
Okay.
So you can make use of these things, like this is the plan handle of mine. So we see one plan, right? So that, but only that plan is cleared. So let me execute this select star from users where ID equal to 1. Okay, so we have like one execution plan. Don't know.
That's a query, right?
Okay, okay. So I have like operator. So you can see the execution plan. Select star from users where ID equal to 1. So this is one
Second.
query which I executed. Second one.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is all like, this is where like execution plans are actually cached. So you can use this DMV for seeing like what execution plans are cached and everything. Okay.
Yeah.
So in the next session tomorrow, like what we'll do is like, so we'll try to see, so we saw what parameter sniffing is, right? So we'll see like how parameter sniffing can be avoided and what are all like the best plans to solve these problems, like parameter sniffing problems. So one thing that is pending from my side is like the count, right? So where exactly like, so when we use this declare at the rate, so from where we are actually getting this estimated record row count. So this is pending from my side, so I'll just post the screenshot shortly. Okay, so that's from my end. Like any other questions or anything from your side?
No, from my side.
Okay, yeah, thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.